Let's get started. Hi, Ladlers! Merry Christmas Eve. It's your girl, Mel. I'm doing a late night Life in Ladle cookie bake because it's Christmas Eve, and of course, all of us that have kids hopefully are getting them in the bed if they're not in bed already, waiting for Santa to come tonight and give them their presents and put them under their Christmas tree. So I thought it would be fun if we did a little late night cookie bake and also a little bit of coaching because, I'm a coach and that's what I do. So today, really quickly, we're going to do the classic chocolate chip cookie recipe. However, I am going to twist it up just a little bit because I was going through my pantry yesterday and I found coconut flour and almond flour, and I thought, I really need to get back into using these flours because I was trying to experiment with them before. They really weren't turning out so well, so I kind of gave up on using those flours, but I thought, you know what, it's the holidays. I'm still not, eating my absolute best, and Santa could probably use a low-carb cookie. Let's just be honest, okay? So I thought of switching out some of the regular AP flour that you normally use in a cookie recipe and use some of these other flours that I have on hand. So I spent some time experimenting yesterday, and I think I found a recipe that works. So this is going to be my second time doing this recipe, and I kind of hope it turns out. All right, so let me just adjust my camera here so I can show you all the ingredients that we got. And let me just move you down here. Okay, so let me get this going. Okay, so I know it looks like a lot, but it's really because a lot of these are small measurements, so don't get too freaked out. I have, like I said, quite a few different flours. You don't have to use all of this, okay? This is just what I had in my pantry, and I just started experimenting to see what I could actually make out of it. So first, what I have is almond flour. I bought this at the store. It's fine almond flour. It is ground super, super fine. It smells like almonds. It's really buttery. It's amazing. And then, so this is 3/4 of a cup. Then I have in this bowl, I have a mixture of two. So I have a 1/4 cup of regular AP flour and a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about coconut flour in just a minute when I get through all the ingredients, because there's a couple things you need to know about coconut flour. Then in here, I have 3/4 cup of oat flour. Now, what I had done was I had taken some oatmeal and I blended them in my little mini blender there into as fine of a flour as I could. This is a really inexpensive way to make oat flour. It's basically what it is. It's just ground up oatmeal. So whatever oatmeal you buy at the store when you make oatmeal for breakfast, just put it in your blender and blend it up super fine, and there you have oat flour, and you can use it in your baking, okay? All right, so that's all the flours. Then I have vanilla, of course. I have 2 eggs, and then I have 3/4 cup of softened butter. If you saw my fruitcake cookie recipe that I did earlier this week with my kids, I mentioned that if you don't happen to have a lot of softened butter sitting out in room temperature, and it's all just been in the fridge, just stick your butter in the microwave for about 15 seconds, and it should soften it up to what you need for your recipe. Anything more than 15 seconds, you'll start getting liquid melted butter all over your microwave, all over your hands, and that's just never a good thing. Okay, then I have 1 cup of brown sugar. I have chocolate chips. I have salt and baking soda. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so let's see. Let me just make sure that you guys can see my bowl here. You can see my bowl. Hope that'll work. Okay. All right, so first things first is we're just going to combine all of the flours here. Obviously, if you just want to stick to one flour substitute at a time just to get used to it, feel free to do that. I just happen to have a ton of different flours on hand, and I just wanted to like get rid of everything. All right, so then we're gonna do 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. That's not the right one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's that guy. We're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So let me talk to you about coconut flour really fast. The thing about coconut flour is, well, let's go through some health benefits first. It is a flour that has, per serving, a lot less carbs than regular AP flour. So it is a very popular flour substitute for those who are looking for low carb recipes, gluten-free recipes, because it's also gluten-free, like keto, paleo type recipes. Coconut flour is found in a lot of those recipes to substitute. The thing about you have to remember when you're baking with coconut flour is a couple of things. It is super, super dry. Okay, it's like really, really thirsty for moisture and liquid. So when you're using coconut flour, you may or may not have to add a little bit more extra liquid. Whatever you have as the liquid in your recipe, you might have to add a little bit more because the coconut flour is super absorbent. And then the other thing about coconut flour is that because it has no gluten, it doesn't stretch. And so whatever you're baking, it won't really spread out. So when you think about, when you throw cookies in the oven, they're usually like a ball or, some sort of a round mound shape, and then it spreads out in the pan, right? Well, coconut flour doesn't do that. So whatever shape your cookies are in when you're using coconut flour, that's kind of the shape they're going to stay in. Okay, so what I would recommend is if you're going to use coconut flour to substitute the flour in your recipes, is to not make it the main flour, meaning just use it to substitute a little bit of the AP flour so that you can cut out some of the carbs in the recipe, but don't replace it all the way until you have gotten really good at understanding how coconut flour works in baking recipes, and then you can kind of fly with it as you please. All right, so that is our flours, that's our baking soda, and our salt. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get all of the wet ingredients. I know it's really popular to like combine your wet ingredients. I'm probably just going to use one of these bowls here into a separate bowl first. Sometimes I'm kind of lazy, guys, and I just throw it all into the one bowl. Confession. It doesn't seem to impact it like that much if I do that. So, all right, got a little shell action here. There we go. Okay, and then our butter. So this is 3/4 cup of butter. All right. Okay. And let me grab my little spoon here. Okay. Just kind of break up this butter a little bit. I don't know if you can see. You guys see that? I'm trying to work out different camera angles so you guys can see what I am doing here. And then I'm going to add my brown sugar. Now, a lot of classic cookie recipes call for, a blend between white sugar and brown sugar. But I tend to just do the brown sugar. I kind of like the taste a little bit better. And I feel it's a little bit more, it's a little warmer taste, if you will. And also, the sweetness, I think, is just right for the cookies that I like to eat. I don't like overly sweet desserts, and sometimes I feel like the white sugar can make it a little too sweet for me. So I typically leave that out. But if you like to use the balance and balance out your brown sugar with your white sugar, by all means, feel free to do that. I would probably adjust the recipe to equal parts half cup brown sugar and half cup granulated sugar. Okay, so this is going to look pretty gross, just so you know, when you're blending your when you're blending your butter and your eggs and your brown sugar, just so you know. But just keep going at it, and eventually everything will come together. And we're going to mix it in with our dry ingredients. And before I do that, let's go ahead and add our vanilla here. Now, I am a huge fan of vanilla. So typically when recipes call for like 1 teaspoon of vanilla, I kind of add 2. I always double it. I don't know why. I just love the taste, and I feel that the vanilla actually helps to bring out the chocolate a little bit more in the cookies, the chocolate chip cookies. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this, get it all in here in my bowl. All right, and I'm just gonna start incorporating flours with your wet ingredients. Okay, now if you happen to have a hand mixer, a stand mixer, by all means, just go ahead and have at it and make your life a little bit easier. I don't know why, I just find it a little therapeutic when I mix things by hand. It might be just the way that I kind of turn my brain off and I can just focus. That's one of the things that I actually love about cooking. For me, the kitchen is not only my art studio, but it's also my therapist couch in a way. I love to cook because I can just turn my brain off and, you know, just sort of zone out and, you know, chop vegetables and you know, put dishes together and just sort of create whatever is, you know, on my mind, and it actually relaxes me. So I know a lot of people find cooking stressful. Maybe it, you know, they find it time consuming as well. But I think if you learn a couple standard dishes and learn how to maybe double them or you know, make larger batches, then you don't have to cook as often, but you still get, you know, a really good home cooked meal throughout the week. And, you know, I just prefer that. Okay, so here we have the batter here. And I'm going to add the chocolate chips in now. I have a rule about measuring chocolate in my house, and the rule is I don't. I don't measure chocolate in my house. So I can't tell you how much chocolate is in this bowl because I don't measure chocolate. And I don't really see the point because it's chocolate. Like, why would you measure chocolate? Just go with what the spirit tells you, right? So I'm just going to dump the chocolate that I have. If you actually need a measurement, I would say maybe start off with maybe a cup or so of chocolate chips if you need an actual measurement. But honestly, I would just go with what makes your heart happy. So, all right. Okay. Now, okay. So, let's see here. This batter is actually looking a little too moist. So just give me 1 second and I'm going to grab a little bit more of the regular flour because that'll help soak up some of the moisture. 1 second. When I first did this recipe, I tried to cut out all of the regular flour, but what I learned from my first batch, and I'll actually show you results from my attempts yesterday. What I learned is, this is an extra quarter cup, by the way, guys. What I learned is there actually is a lot of good benefit to having regular flour in your batter. Mainly because I found that when I was rolling the dough into round balls, it actually took a better shape and form when I added more of the regular flour to it. So I know that we're all trying to find ways to kind of cut down on carbs, maybe eat a little healthier, even though it is the holiday time. It still would be, good to have maybe like lighter dishes and things like that to kind of break up all of the heavy eating that can occur during the holiday time. But, if you can't necessarily cut out completely all of, your carbs, at least try your best to, replace it, like, with a healthier flour like coconut or almond or oat flour, whatever you have on hand or whichever you like best. Okay, so let me see here. I think I'm going to do another. Let me just add a little extra. So that was probably about, whoop, flour everywhere. Cookies for Santa are turning out really interesting. It's kind of the fun part about going live is you never know what's going to happen. All right, so I think I added about a couple of tablespoons. I'm just going to add the rest of that quarter cup. So altogether, that was an extra half a cup of flour. All right, I think we're getting somewhere, guys. Yesterday, when I was doing this experiment, I only had 1 egg in the recipe because what I had done was I had taken my fruitcake cookie recipe that I had made earlier this week with my kids, and I used the base of that cookie recipe for these chocolate chip ones. And then I, of course, experimented with all of these different flours, and then had to play around with the moisture levels and things like that. So, okay, I think this is a better turnout. You want your dough to be kind of like stick to your spoon like that. You don't want it to slough off your spoon very easily because that means there's too much liquid. But I added 2 eggs in today because there's a reason why, and I'll show you in just a minute as soon as we get the cookies in the oven here. Okay, so I got my cookie sheet. I'm gonna wash my hands real fast. Okay. All right, so I think Santa likes a nice uniform cookie. I don't know about you, but I just like to have nice uniform cookies. You can totally just, put these on your baking sheet, just drop them with your spoon and just leave them be. But I like to roll my cookies into round balls because I feel like they have a nicer uniform shape when they come out of the oven. Now I'm going to spread these kind of far apart so that there's plenty of room for them to stretch out. Remember, we added half a cup extra of regular flour towards the end there, so I want to make sure that these cookies don't run into each other. Okay, and I'll just do a few cookies here just for demonstration's sake. All right. Okay, so there's that. Okay, wash my hands again. All right, and then I'm going to throw these into a 375-degree oven for exactly 12 minutes. Okay, so while that's going, let's talk a little bit. Okay, hi guys. Okay, all right, so I want to show you what happened yesterday when I only used one egg in my baking. And I'm not scared to show you when I make mistakes because I think, one, not only do I learn differently, but of what I can do differently, but I think it's good to let everyone know that you can learn from mistakes too, and it's really not a big deal. So here I have two actual different batches of cookies that I made. So this first one here it's flat. Okay, so it's flat, and after I let them cool, they broke apart really easily. So I was kind of trying to figure out like what do I need to do differently to make sure that they don't break apart, and they're not as they're not so crumbly when you're trying to eat them. And then, so what I did was I added a little bit more flour to my second batch. And you'll notice that when these came out, they're much rounder in shape, right? But they still broke. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. Was it the flours that I was substituting? Was it, were my measurements off? What did I need to do to adjust the recipe? So I looked up reasons why, cookies tend to crumble. And I learned something really interesting. And that really is a very simple thing. And it could be because it said that I may not have been using enough eggs in my recipe. And I learned that eggs do a couple of things. Number one, eggs act as a binder, so it holds things together. But number two, eggs also act as a stabilizer. So it's another way that it keeps your baking products together and helps your cookies not crumbling. And as I was thinking about that, so the cookies that we have in the oven right now, that has 2 eggs in there. And I'm going to see if it really helps with the keeping the cookies together after they cool. But I was thinking about how eggs act as a binder and as a stabilizer in your baking recipes. And of course, my life coaching brain came on, and I thought, well, this is actually a really good life lesson, because I think with the way that this year turned out, and how it just went really crazy for everybody, and the whole world had to stop, and we had to learn how to live life with a lot of adjustments. All of us have gone through immense stress, and our whole lives were shaken up by this year. And I know many people who had other stressors and challenges that they were going through before the pandemic actually happened. And so this has been, for a lot of people, a very heavy year where you may have felt shaken up. You may have felt like the world sort of crashed all around you. You may have, the bottom fall out from you. I know that I've felt that way for sure this year. And a lot of things that, were your normal were no longer normal. And when I thought about how eggs are used in recipes to stabilize and to bind, I thought about what is it that you need to add to your life to help stabilize your life and to help keep you together. Um, because with everything that's happened this year, 2021 is just around the corner. It's just like a week away. And I think we all deserve to be able to walk into a new year unshaken, completely stable, and completely held together. So whatever it is that you might need to do, maybe you might need to pray. Maybe you might need to call somebody and really get out all of the pain and stress that you might have been holding this whole entire time just to keep it together, just to get through another day, just to make things work in this new way of living. You might have to cut some things out that that are causing you stress, that isn't helping you make life simpler. You might have to do something new. You might have to find an old dream that you need to dust off in order to give you hope and motivation to look beyond your current circumstances. Whatever it is that you need to stabilize yourself and to keep yourself completely held together, I really want to encourage you guys to do that, because we don't have to repeat this year at all if we don't want to. And many ways that we can make sure that next year and moving forward is different from this year is the way that we look at the future. And I think, for those who have maybe lost sight of what the future could hold for somebody, it's easy to get discouraged and just get completely sucked into what's happening on the daily basis. But I think for next year and beyond, it will be different if you think differently. And in order to think differently, you have got to do whatever it takes to keep yourself stabilized inside and also held together. Now, you notice that when I was reading about how eggs are a stabilizer and a binder, um, obviously you have to incorporate it into the recipe. There's no way that I could have taken the finished product of the cookie and then slapped some egg on it, thinking that that's how it would hold, that's how it would stay together. The thing about being stabilized and being bound, held together, is that it has to happen within. So whatever it is that you need to do to take whatever is not helping you, get it out and put in the things that do keep you together truly, and do bind you together truly, that's what I encourage you all to do. So that's my little coaching, late night coaching for for this Christmas. I think the cookies are almost ready. So just a few more minutes. I'm going to let them go for another 4 minutes or so. While that is going on, I want to show you something that I have been doing. My son loves chocolate. He's a kid after my own heart. And he's recently gotten into this whole chocolate thing. And lately, he has fallen in love with chocolate cake. Isn't he great? So, I'm going to surprise him. Hi, Tyler. How are you? Welcome. I'm going to surprise him with a chocolate cake. But I thought, how can I make this chocolate cake a little more Christmassy? but maybe make it easy on myself because, you know, it is the night before and I'm not trying to do anything super crazy. So I basically just bought a regular box of chocolate cake mix, baked it according to directions, got a can of chocolate frosting, and I got some chopped pecans here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to make a little reindeer decoration with the pecans using this reindeer cookie cutter. So again, experimenting live. I have no clue how this is going to turn out, but let's see. So when I made the cake batter, I just split the batter into two round cake pans and baked them in the oven at 350 for, actually, you know what? Let me do this. I baked it at 350 for about 30 minutes. They have been cooling for about an hour now, so they should be plenty cool and ready for frosting. Okay, so I always like to do a double layer cake simply because when you cut into the cake and you see that it's 2 layers, it just makes it look a little bit more like fun and appetizing and appealing. So I'm just going to spread a little of this chocolate frosting here in the middle. If you have chocolate sauce, you could try and do that. It might get soaked up into the cake, so just be aware of that. What I love to do with 2-layer cakes is make a strawberry cake, which I do in the summer. And in between the 2 layers, I put a layer of homemade strawberry jam or just regular jam bought from the store. So good. And then frost that cake with a little bit of buttercream frosting and decorate it with strawberries on top. Oh man, life-changing. All right, so I've got some chocolate here in the middle. Now you could throw some nuts in the middle there if you wanted to, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to leave it plain. Okay, now, actually, I think that's upside down. Yep, definitely put that upside down. Good job, Mel. Okay, rewind if I can. I probably can't. That's all right. We're going to make it work. Okay, so we're just going to frost this, and my cookies are ready to come out of the oven. So if you find yourself making a mistake like that, no big deal. Carry on. All right, let me just grab these cookies out of the oven really fast. Oh, nice. Okay, we're gonna let this cool for just a minute before I show you. I'm gonna finish frosting this cake here really fast and see if I can hide my mistake. Oh my goodness. The good thing about my kid is that he will not care if the top of the cake is upside down or what. He will just want the cake. I think I'm going to need more frosting as well, so I may have to finish this after we wrap up here. But, alright, just want to make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Growing up, I didn't really have a lot of Christmas traditions. We didn't really do Christmas the traditional way, like we do here in the States. And so I always enjoyed the holidays during school, hours because that's when I actually got to participate in like Christmas things and stuff. So what I'm determined to do with my kids is give them, you know, a different experience than I had growing up. And so one of the things that I started doing around the holiday time is once December hits, I start baking like crazy. And I try out new cookie recipes, and I get my kids in the kitchen. They absolutely love it. And it has been kind of a tradition that I've been thankfully able to keep up because it's so easy. But my kids also really enjoy it, and they haven't gotten tired of being in the kitchen with me yet. So would love to hear what you guys do for family traditions around the holidays. Feel free to drop those in the comments or the chat. Another thing that I'm learning tonight, guys, is I'm not the best cake froster. You know that show, Nailed It? Like, I feel like I would win. Nailed it, like really. Because this is interesting over here. Yeah, I think I definitely need another thing of frosting, or maybe not. I might be okay. I might be okay because I've already made it all the way through, all the way around. Okay. Okay, guys. So, can you tell that this cake is upside down? I hope not. All right. Okay. I do have a little bit of frosting left, so I will finish polishing this up in just a little bit. But what I wanted to see is, can I make this a little more fancy? I'm just going to place the reindeer cookie cutter on top and just see if this will actually work. So I'm just going to sprinkle the pecans. In this cookie cutter here, got a little antler action going on. You need some legs. Oh, got some flying pecans here. Okay, I think this might actually work, guys. All right, so let me see if I can remove the cookie cutter. Okay. You know what? Didn't really work. But that's okay. You know how we're going to help identify that this is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Pomegranate seeds. I got a pomegranate from the store, and I thought, well, how am I supposed to help people know that this is a reindeer? So there you go. Let me hold this up to you so you can see. This did not really turn out the way that I thought this would, so that's okay, because it's just for my kids, and they're going to love it anyway. All right, guys, so I attempted to make a reindeer decoration on my cake here using a reindeer cookie cutter. It didn't work out as well as I thought it would, but oh well. In order to distinguish that it was Rudolph, I did stick a little red pomegranate seed at the end of what is supposed to be his nose. All right, so that's fun. Okay, lessons learned, huh? Okay, let's see these cookies. Ta-da! they are not that bad. They look like they are holding together a lot easier. So definitely 2 eggs for sure. I've got flour all over my shirt, no worries. Look at that, guys. It didn't crumble. So, recipe for sure is add 2 eggs, and then I increased the amount of regular flour by half a cup. So, taste test. Ready? That's a good cookie. Okay. I might make more of these when I get off this live. Okay, so we all know there is nothing better than a freshly baked, warm out of the oven chocolate chip cookie. Guys, this does not disappoint. So remember, I used the different flours: oat flour, coconut flour, almond flour, and then regular AP flour. Again, no need to use all of that. I just had it in my pantry and just went to town. You cannot tell the difference of whether or not this has different flours in there or anything like that. It is that delicious. And I love that it is not crumbling in my hand as I eat it. Oh my god, so good. Okay. Let me stop stuffing my face on live and get off here. I'm going to finish baking these cookies and bringing them over to my kids in the morning, and I have to wrap their presents too. So I've got a lot of work to do tonight. So I hope everyone had a really good time tonight with me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for baking cookies with me. I hope I was able to give you all the gift of hope this year, and I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.